Hello, welcome to, I don't know what this is, my show, my YouTube, random offerings and sharings and opinions. Anyways, welcome. Today I'm doing something very special to kick off my spectral reader. It is a tarot course for tarot readers who want to fold in mediumship in a tarot kind of way. And it starts on August 1st of 2024. So we've got a little less than 2 weeks, and definitely I'd like to welcome you to come and join us if this talk or all the other stuff I've been doing is of interest to you. I think I talked in the past about how tarot, a lot of tarot readers are told by others and mediums that you should be a no tools medium, or that you shouldn't use tarot for mediumship, or that whatever whatever it is that you've heard. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and tell me the things that other mediums have told them about why they can't or shouldn't use tarot in their mediumship practice. And I did a history piece on this earlier, that this is actually some really old biases from how spiritualism came to be, and then it just didn't cross streams with tarot, because tarot as a system for reading was not in the US or the UK, really, I think, in the 1860s. It was cartomancy, and that cartomancy was what the unwashed masses did. It was the working man's thing. It was the woman's thing. Cartomancy and fortune telling was a rare job opportunity for a woman in a world that didn't have many job opportunities for women. But often these women were immigrants, or they weren't the right shade of white, and they didn't speak English. So I think when spiritualism became a movement, there may have been a very careful, either like inadvertent or inattention, not trying to do this, on purpose, but they didn't want to be seen as part of that, right? Because of, the PR problem of fortune telling and cartomancy. Um, or they may have it just never would have occurred to them. But this is a bias that has withstood the test of time, but not with a lot of weight to it. As I went into in an earlier a YouTube, which you can watch. You can find it somewhere. I don't know where it is. Um, but today I'm going to talk about, so, right, we come into this tarot mediumship as tarot readers feeling like we have to kind of like, oh, please, sir, please, may I also be a medium? Can I be a medium? Maybe not quite as good as you, but maybe like a little good, right? And then we're kind of looked down on. But what if I told you, what if I were to tell you that not only can you be a tarot medium, but you can do more than a mental medium or telepathic mediumship can do. You can do more than what they can do. Not only can you do what they can do, but you can do other things that they can't do. Because mediumship is a bit of a one-trick pony. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but that's what mediumship does, is to bring people through. That's its job. But tarot it can do lots of different jobs. And that's what I want to get into today. So I like wrote this whole thing about it. And so when people come to a mediumship session, we have to keep in mind who they are. And so as I think any kind of medium, but for my tarot mediums, my tarot people, we have to learn about the grief process. And this is because grieving people often come to mediumship in order to make a connection with their loved ones. But for themselves, on their own grief or healing journey, they're trying to process and integrate the pain of their loss. And one of the ways we can do that as just human beings, right, is that we can listen, we can validate, and we can explore with them, and let them take the lead in that, while also suppressing any need that we have to solve our discomfort or to solve their discomfort. And this was a really important lesson I learned years ago. All my life, I've dealt with migraines that got consistently worse. It was triggered from me being hit by a car when I was 10. That's what we think. And by the time I was in my mid to late 30s, I was having 6-month-long migraines, 5-month-long migraines, 6-month-longs. And what I mean by that is one continuous migraine that could not be broken, to the point I tried everything. I was hospitalized with a PICC line in my heart in order to try to break these migraines. And at some point, and I was being seen by the best of the best in the US, like top notch, top tier. I was married to someone with really good insurance at the time. But at that point, after my hospitalization, and I said to them, I still, it's still there. It's not gone away. And I distinctly, this is like this memory I'll always carry, where the doctor said, maybe getting to zero pain is not the goal anymore. And I don't know if you that are watching live, or those of you that are gonna like listen later, if you've ever had chronic pain, you know how it changes you as a person. It makes you a different kind of human. And it's hard to explain that to people who've never had chronic long-term unremitting pain. But at the same time, during this process where I was like, am I gonna have to get on disability? Oh my God, I don't know how long I can take this. You know, is my life over essentially? There are plenty of people that would just, hear that I have chronic migraines and say something like, have you tried drinking water and Himalayan salts? Or here's some lavender, or are you eating gluten? And while they were well meaning, and I came to really understand why people do that, and that we often are so uncomfortable with someone else's discomfort that we want to rush to a solution, whatever we can find in our memory banks, to like, here you go, here's a solution. Maybe that'll make it better. Because we find that action, especially in the Western culture, especially in the US, action is what remediates pain. But what if it doesn't? And what if it makes it worse? And you know, when they did that though, they inadvertently took their agency from me. And I stopped being a person really to them, but maybe a problem that needed to be solved so that we could go back to business as usual. And the thing is I knew more about migraines than most neurologists at that point. I mean, I was up at 3 a.m. searching and searching for answers. And there's nothing that Googling a headache would offer that I didn't already know. But most people didn't ask, what have you tried? Most people don't ask, are you open to some advice? Or have you heard this one, right? So we want to just kind of slap a band-aid on it. But what we're doing is we're really then not witnessing and space holding the suffering someone is in. So Emmy, yes, though not pain, tinnitus, until a doctor finally moved me away from make it go away is our goal. Yeah, 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 exactly. And I think those of us that have had these, can really understand the person who's grieving is also in the same place and needs the same kind of care. That if we try to sugarcoat something or be like, well, you can have another kid. Oh my God. I can't believe people say that. Or it's just a cat. Or, you know, aren't you over it already? Like, this is very dangerous to do to someone who's grieving. Um, because when you hear those things that are just these pithy sayings, it actually could make the grief or the pain turn into trauma, and that's when it gets hard to deal with. But I mean, I'm in remission now. I rarely get a headache or a migraine these days. I'm very, very grateful for that, and very, very lucky. um, but it's so important in that it taught me how to hold space and how to validate and let the hurting person take the lead. So as a tarot medium, we are not there to look away from their grief or to slap a short-term bandage over the work, because the more we fight grief, the more we fight pain, right? The more we make everything kind of worse. And the more the grief will linger, the more the pain will linger, and the worse it will feel to us. And it will turn poisonous within ourselves. And when we feel shame or guilt because of things that other people are saying, however helpful, that will lead us down that rocky path to trauma, because one of the hallmarks of persistent trauma is that you no longer feel connected to others. And you do that as a defense reaction. And that makes it harder to heal now as a result. And so tarot mediumship, not only in connecting with a person who has crossed over, we can also help the grieving person be witnessed and validated and healed and helped and held in ways that will help their grief remain in the place it needs to be and not turn into something that's going to traumatize them. Um, and if you're a tarot reader, you know, you have you have a 78 trick pony because in your hands is that Swiss Army knife. It can do so many things, and we can do it from so many angles in addition to tarot mediumship. So if we're going to do this with ourselves or with our friends or our clients, we can also offer this perspective in addition to the mediumship, which is just as helpful in its own right. So we can bring in the beloved dead and support the grieving person in their journey. And so if grief and trauma and complex trauma metastasizes, people may end up living a shadow life, with, never quite able to embrace their own lives fully after they're lost. We can absolutely help with that. One of the other ways that traumatic grief also manifests is an existential crisis. Yeah. Like, why did this happen? How can I believe in a caring and invested universe, God, goddess, whomever, however, when I've had so much pain? What does this loss tell me about myself, my life, my values, my meaning, my agency? Does God even care? How could he do this to me? These are all questions that stem from existential crisis, which is a unique part of trauma and grief that often an SSRI isn't going to be able to fix. It's a spiritual question, isn't it? And one not easily answered. But the good news is those kind of questions, those existential questions, are like right in tarot's wheelhouse. That's what we do. And I know that because in all of my client sessions, when they make an appointment with me, they do a little intake, not much, but just like, what brings you here? And 95% of the time, or like, what do you think a tarot reading is going to do for you? What are you looking for? And about 95% of the time, they use two words to describe what they're looking for. 95% of the time. It's one or both of these words. And the first word is clarity. And the second word, though, is hope, which I was so surprised by until I actually ran the data on, through all of my intakes, looking at what words came up consistently over and over again. So people often come to tarot when they have explored their options and cannot see a way through. And people often come to tarot when there is an element of being lost or in despair. And that certainly is true for people who may come for tarot mediumship. So not only can we offer the mediumship session, as I said, but we can offer them spreads for themselves as a healing tool and to support their grief process, not by trying to make it go away, but by seeing it with them, by witnessing it with them, by holding space with them, and exploring it with them. So if we sugarcoat, though, and we try to slap that easy answer, and I've had people come to see me who've seen other readers that did slap that easy answer, like, oh, they're going to reincarnate and be your next kid now, like all that kind of stuff. It doesn't heal the grief. It doesn't allow the grief to settle. The grief will come back. And that's when they come see me. So I've created a very special tarot spread for this. And I think the working title of it is, and I'm still playing with it, so you get to play with it with me. It's still in like test form, beta form, but it's called Inviting Grief to Supper. So I'm going to move some things. So what I did is I wrote a bunch of words that I thought were emblematic or symbolic or important for people that are grieving. And I put them on these little cards like this. So I'll just read through a few of these and then we'll get to my document camera and then we'll play with them. So this one is what is present. And there's like probably, I would say 40 to 50 of these little things that I just kind of cut out and started playing with. So facing forward, adapting to, remember this, surrendering towards, serving the world, liminal space, lies told, curling inward, willingness towards, the collective, trauma, taking shape, coming to completion, integration, rest here now, what needs to be seen, the story, the wound, synchronicities, legacy, art, spiraling, recognize this, support, the veil you are being witnessed by. You can come back to this video and just pause and then write these out for yourself and make your own little mini like tool that I have here. Taking action, expansion needed here, avoidance. This matters. The face of grief, to be endured. Listen to this. Burdens shape. Abandoning of self. Signs. Resisting. Moving forward. Speaking truth. Honoring ancestors. Maintaining the now and spaciousness. So the goal of these words and the goal of what I'm trying to do here is not to be like, when does my grief finally end? When do I start feeling better, right? Like that is one of those, what I call junk food readings, which is like, I just want this to be over, which doesn't actually heal what needs to happen. So this is about a new approach, about really being in the moment and looking at it a little more deeply. So let me get my document camera on. So I hope you guys can see this pretty clearly. Everyone, can you guys see this really good? Would this be better? Somebody help me out. Let me know if you can see like my hand well enough. It's not too small. So all I did was I just took these, I just put them on some old like art paper that I messed up some art and, was trying to, reduce, reuse, recycle, all that good stuff. So there's no rhyme or reason why there's these colors and shapes. It's just other kinds of art that I was playing with. So, if I did this more, professionally, they would all be the same shape. They would all look like cards of the same shape. This was just kind of my fun working model. So what you do is you put them out. And for yourself or the other, you'd just say something like, how many of these do you want? And I prefer, honestly, I really like odd numbers. So maybe I might even say, like, how many like things do you want to explore? Give me a number. What number feels right? Right. Maybe up to like 11, maybe. Even that might be too much. We can make that smaller. Good. Thanks, Martha. Thanks, Emmy. And so maybe someone says, you know what? 5 feels right. And then you say, okay, pull 5 and set them aside. Don't turn them over. Don't look at them. So they're just going to randomly pull 5 cards like this. And you're going to take these away. And here's the thing, these are just words that I felt would be helpful. You may have some other words that feel right for you. There's no right or wrong way. It's just something that enough words to fully explore the grief process. So now we have 5 and we're still looking them down. And then you're going to tell, I have more. Wait, 3, 4, 5, and you. Okay, 5. And then you're going to you'll do this for yourself or tell your person, like, how do you want the process to look? What's the shape? And by that, I mean, when you're doing like a PowerPoint, anyone do a PowerPoint, and there's like the little tab with all the little processes, like what's the process here, or what's the shape? And you can have it any way. You could have one blocking one, you could have multiples dogpiled, you can have one under one. However, it's really just about following our intuition in the process. And there's no right or wrong, right? So we're gonna, so I'm gonna, I think I'm going to make it like this. Let me pull out so you can see. So I've got one in the middle and I've got two on either side, and it's going to look like this. And we'll do more than one if you guys want to. So, all right. So we have the number and we have the process in some way, but we haven't turned them over yet. And we're then going to pull 5 cards, 1 card for each of these stations. Oh, that's a good word for it, station. I hadn't, usually we say position, right? But I like station. That feels, I don't know. That feels good to me. What do you guys think? Station. So we're going to pull 5. So I'm going to be like, okay, where do you want to start? And they'll go, I want to start here. Okay, let's put 1 card here. And then maybe here. Okay, we can pull 1 card here. I feel like I'm Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but with tarot right now. And then maybe someone goes, you know what, something here. Okay, cool. We'll put that one here. And then we have 2 more. So 1 here and 1 here. Once that's done, then we're going to turn over and see what aspects wanted to talk to us and wanted to explore with us. So let's start here. The first one. So I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Yeah, kind of. So this middle one is what needs to be seen. What needs to be seen. And then we look here. This is to be endured. And then here we have signs. Then here we have the collective. And then finally, this matters. So before we even turn over any of the cards, we can just look at what has shown up in relationship to one another. So let me see if I can make this any clearer. Oof. Let me see if I can make this a little darker. So up here we have, at the top, we have the collective. That's the collective. And this is to be endured. Down here, this matters. And these are signs. With this middle part, what needs to be seen? So we could ask our querent or ourselves and just look at this. Like, what does this shape remind you of? What is the process? We could see this as the collective, something that matters, something that has to be endured, and signs. And I mean that by like maybe signs from spirit or signs from the universe is holding or contributing to the middle card, which is what needs to be seen. Or it could be what needs to be seen as that middle card is the spoke holding the rest of these things together, right? So it's a very intuitive process about what is arriving for you, and really trusting that there's like, this is not just accidental. It's showing up because this is the thing that needs to be looked at, maybe the most salient thing in your grief journey. So then from there, we'll turn over the cards. So we'll start off with, and this is the White Newman deck, by the way, those of you are curious. What needs to be seen? Five of Wands. And I'm not going to read the reversals. Like there's enough going on here. There's enough moving parts. So we can just make them all upright. So what needs to be seen? Five of Wands. Anyone in the peanut gallery there? Anyone that's live want to take a stab and just play with that idea? Five of Wands needs to be seen, right? Well, what could that mean? Like the one thing that comes to me when I look at this, what needs to be seen, I would almost guess, like, because Five of Wands is a card of agitation or of competition, or right, like you're having this push and pull factor. So there's something that is of an inflamed state that needs to be seen by the querent. And so I, in my head, as I'm doing spreads, I'll often have like a little scratch paper in my head of like, I wonder if this person typically dissociates, right? Because if a person dissociates, like everything's fine, I'm fine, it's all fine, then this is the kind of card that would come out. But I don't know yet. I'm not going to jump any conclusions. I just put it in my internal little scratch paper in my parking lot and go, is this, like, I need more verification, but could this be it? Right. And then we'll talk about it with ourselves, or journal it, or with another. And then they're going to say things that may make a lot of sense. So then we'll keep going. And it doesn't really matter what, like which one you want to look at first. It doesn't matter at all, except it matters maybe if there is a intuitive sense of how this needs to be uncovered, or like witnessed in some way. So we have, and I'll come really high into like, so this is the Five of Wands, what needs to be seen. And then I'm curious about what I said. So I'm going to be like, all right, let's look at this matters. This matters. And this is somehow connected to all of this. So this matters is Four of Cups. Ooh, yes, indeed. Ding, 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 ding. I think I was right. Sorry, I don't mean to be all that excited, but I'm like, the plot, what is it? Sherlock, like we are on, I don't know, the scent is hot or whatever. I can't remember. But anyways, so Four of Cups, this matters. So what is Four of Cups? Four of Cups is often a card of like, reevaluation. It's a card that means like I'm overly focusing on one or multiple cups and not looking at another cup. There's often even a stubbornness to it, right? So when I look at these two, I'm like, yep, there it is. Like it matters that you're not seeing this, and it wants to be seen. It really matters. This is actually more important than you might think it is. Okay. Interesting that the collective is above. So for me, I saw the collective is, I wrote it with the idea of more like things on this plane of existence in the third dimensional form. The collectives of people in our lives, or the people that we meet, and however that needs to take shape or form, or people who are suffering like us. And I don't know yet how that connects. So we'll take a look at that as well. The High Priestess. Right. So I kind of see that as the collective being maybe an intuitive friend, or your own intuition. Like you got to start listening to that, your own gut. It's working with you and for you. And it is in partnership with you. It is the thing to maybe gain support from as you're working to see what needs to be seen. Then over here we have to be endured. Flip. And we have Knight of Cups. Oh, I'm going to get emotional. I know this is just like an example, but it really touches my heart. What needs to be endured is that you're going to be searching for this love, that there will be a pang, there will be a search. You will never have this exactly. You will search for it. There will be a missing for the rest of your life. Knight of Cups is one of the stories is Percival and the Holy Grail. You're always going to be looking for that grail and you're not going to find it. And you have to endure with that and hold that. And that might be also what's below or above and to the right, part of what needs to be seen or needs to be endured. And I'm not reading the Knight of Cups as the person who's crossed over. You know, I don't feel that. It's more about this searching energy, the looking energy that has to be endured. And then finally, we have signs. And I wrote signs down as in signs from spirit, maybe, or signs from your beloved, something to help, um, help hold you or help galvanize you or help give you hope. Because this is a very hard thing. It's a very, very, very hard thing. This is a very hard thing in grief, right? To know that I'm going to have to miss this person for the rest of my life. That's so hard. And we need a lot of help to do it. Signs. 7 of Wands. That's interesting. 7 of Wands. Huh. That's really interesting. 7 of Wands and 5 of Wands, you could almost see these as kind of a progression of the same story, right? So 5 of Wands is the ways that a group of people are kind of like playfully fighting off. There is a sense of, like I said, competition. And then 7 of Wands is someone who's won. That's already happened, but then there's a challenger. So I would almost look at this as, again, there's an avoidance piece. And the sign from spirit is you have got to see where you have to fight for it, or where you have to claim it, or you have to defend it. And you can only do that by seeing that doing so matters, that we look at it and it matters. And we know that from the collective of the high priestess, of our gut talking to us, because we're not dissociating. We need to see this and that it's worthy of it. And that the sign from the other side, just when maybe you're not seeing that and you kind of go back to here, Spirit's going to be like, hey, wait a minute. I'm going to throw you a little bit off balance because you are forgetting right now. So this to me, like you say, if someone had something like this, there's so much here around somebody, as an example, really needing to be supported in the truth of what's so hard to carry, what's so hard to be endured. And they have to witness it and look at it. And that is the way through. This is not easy stuff. People are like, yeah, but like, when do I get over it again? Do you have a tarot reading for when I get over it? Do you have a reading for when I don't hurt so much? And that's valid that they're asking that. Who wants to be in pain? But there is a significant beauty and sacredness and healing that happens when we work to hold space for these difficult truths. But knowing that the collective came up, so to be endured, that's hard. To see what needs to be seen. These are hard things, but we're not alone in doing it. The reading makes it very clear. And all of these are connected to this central piece in some way, in a maybe even in a non-hierarchical way, where the flow is backwards and forwards. And then you can also read it as like what's on top of the other, right? What's on top of the other. And that's a good thing too, because these are a bit harder, and this is like kind of the goal in terms of your own healing journey. So that's just for fun. That's just one I wanted to do. Do we want to do another one? We've got time. And I can pull different ones and we can do a different shape. Does anyone want to Does anyone, so someone give me a number. First one is the number we'll go with. And then if you guys want, you can give me the shape. Yes, more please. Okay. I'm glad you guys like to play along with me. I have fun with these. So this reversed kind of spread that I'm doing, I came up with it 1 or 2 years ago, probably as part of my morphic readings idea, which is why can't we have a movable spread? Why can't we have the spread and the parts of a spread be as intuitive a process as the cards? And it's kind of crazy. It worked. It worked. 9, Martha. Okay, 9. All right, 9. So I'm not gonna use the same ones. I'm gonna put these guys aside so we can do new ones. Yeah. And this is a very different kind of reading. So if you read for clients that are used to the more tradish tarot, this may be for some, this may be a big shift in how they see tarot works, because often, right, there's this idea of tarot is just give me my answer. Give me my answer right now. Analog Google, give it to me, make me feel better, right? And this is more about, this is the answer. It is in the exploration of this process. So 11. All right, let me pull up. All right, no, you said 9. Okay. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh wait, I did too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have 9. And what kind of shape do you guys feel like you want this to look? Hello, ma'am, or hello, sir. I don't do free readings on my lives. You can always book a session with me, though. You can always book a session. And that is, do I have it in my banner? You can always go to jennamatlin.com and book yourself a session. I'd be happy to explore stuff going on with you anytime, all the time. 3 groups of 3. Okay, so we have 3 groups of 3. How do you want each of these to look? And everyone, those of you besides Martha, you can also chime in. This is a collective. It's not just Martha's. If you feel called to share how you want this to look, it's for all of us. So, and it's like, and what shape do you want the groups of 3? Do you want them this way, this way, this way? How do you want those groupings to look and interact with each other? While I'm waiting for the answer, I'm also, going to shamelessly promote my class coming up August 1st, Spectral Reader. This is a tarot course for tarot readers to bring mediumship into your work. And it's a great course. We have it's 4 classes. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, I needed more than just 4 classes. But it's a hybrid class, so you get a pre-recorded lesson of something that I do, and you can, if you go to this website, you'll get the syllabus. And then a week later, we meet live on Zoom together with my handy dandy document camera, and we work through this stuff together with support. And everything is recorded, so even if you can't make the lives, and living on the East Coast of the US, it's hard to accommodate a lot of people, like from Hawaii all the way to Germany. But we will record it. And then also we have a super secret platform where we get to share and talk. And and exchange ideas and advice to one another. So it's not too late to sign up. We've got time if this intrigues you. I don't think anyone else, I don't know any other reader that specifically does mediumship, but that I can think of. Someone does, let me know. But I think what I'm doing here may be unique, and it's all based off of me bringing mediumship into my sessions for the last like 3 years after working on it, like for the full year before, with my client base. And that's easily almost like 50% of my clients now. So everything I'm teaching, I have definitely beta ran and tested in some way or many multiple ways to come with what felt like for me a very efficient process to get people started. So there's that. Nobody has any ideas for shapes? Or do you just want them like that? All right, let me add my 2 cents then. So we have 3 groups of 3. Why don't we make them like this? These 2 things will get us in some way to this. So I want to almost say this plus this equals this in some way. That's how I'd want to play with it. Oh, Martha, maybe if we have time, we can do another one. But this is going to be a big one with 9 cards, so it might take us a while. All right, so I want to see this as like this and this contribute to this. Does that make sense, everybody? And then, yeah, and I think we could even go, so this is what I mean. You can go really, really detailed. So you then can also assign kind of, and this and this and this means something, right? Or whatever. This is the upper, this is the middle, this is the lower. Like it could be that as well. Just up to whatever strikes your fancy or feels right. Or you can leave it not as detailed and just kind of leave it a little more amorphous. But I feel called to do these things, like contribute to this in some way. So let's get into what we've got here. I'm really excited. Let's see what we got. And if you have a hard time like imagining how to do this, like I said, go to PowerPoint or just Google like processes, process flows, organizational flows, and it'll give you a bunch of ideas that you can work with. And that's a lot of fun as well. So, we have expansion needed here. Wait. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up. We can't do that yet. I got to pull the cards. What am I thinking? I don't want to load my head. I want it to be completely intuitive. All right. So just for funsies. So 1 and 2. So I'm pulling these cards. And then you can, direct like how you want the cards. Like I want my first card to go here or go there, actually want to do that since I did that one. And then that one. And then that one. So that can also be like where you put the cards, what order do you want them to show up, is also part of the intuitive process. And then you can mix it up. Like, look at that. I just oops, let me pull back. Like it doesn't have to, like I just point here. I'm out of order. Oh no. Okay. So now we have them. There's a lot of you watching and very quiet. Is that because you're like cleaning your house and you have me on your headset like I do? Or are you in rapt attention? Which one is it? Okay. So this first one here, we have expansion needed here. That's the first one. And then here we have moving forward. We have recognize this. That's those 3. Here we have what is present. That's funny that that ended up in the middle. We have honoring, and we have the now. Oh, that's so cool. So we have the now and then what is present all on this line. So if you remember, it's like the culmination of these things are going to get us here. That's the process. Hey, welcome. And so expansion needed here, what is present, and then burdens shape. Interesting. We have moving forward, we have honoring, and those things bring us to ancestors. And then we have recognize this, the now, and that brings us to you are being witnessed by. Sorry, I can't make the words like that much. So let's just look at this middle one here for fun. So the idea is this is representative of moving forward. And it's so cool that the middle card of all of these is honoring. And then ancestors, which I think is interesting. So moving forward plus honoring equals ancestors. So if I were just to look at that, right? So again, talking about, I have a little scratch pad in my head where I'm making guesses or intuitive hits like, oh, did this person lose a grandparent that they loved? And that grandparent has become an ancestor. Moving forward and honoring the ancestors, which suggests to me that someone has lost someone from the older generations. Does that make sense? May or may not be true. We can continue to look. So then we have, I'll try to like move these around so you guys can see a little more clearly. So then we have what's on top. Expansion needed here. What is present and burdens shape, and burden like that. What is the edges of the thing that is the burden that you're carrying, right? And how are these two things connected to it? So almost like maybe this person isn't seeing in an expansive enough way in the present because of the grief, or that there's still pieces that are being understood and felt. And then below we had recognize this, the now, and you are being witnessed by. There's a lot of presence and present and being present in this reading that I think is really, really fascinating. Almost as if like another thing I would add on my little scratch pad would be, is somebody, is someone really stuck in their stories of the past with this person in a way that may be hindering them coming into life, maybe? Right? Who knows? We'll see. So let's get into these. We'll do these piece by piece. So let's do this one first. So we have moving forward, and we have 10 of Pentacles. Yep, that for me is traditionally an ancestor card. Page of Wands, interesting. And ancestors, the Hermit. I see that Page of Wands perhaps as the person who I would be reading for, the person in grief, like honoring, but yourself. And if any of you, you can feel free to chime in and give me your own take. This is just me kind of flying by the seat of my pants. But if you see something, please share in the comments. There's no right or wrong here. This is just all an exploration. So moving forward, so 10 of Pentacles. So I feel like that little scratch pad I had in my head, I'm like, oh, I was right. Because for me, 10 of Pentacles is family traditions, like the story of the family, what we do, what we don't do, who we were to each other, right? And that like we have to respond. We don't want to crystallize in this, right? And the honoring, to me, when I see Page of Wands, it's like honor your sense of adventure, honor your curiosity, honor your creativity, honor your courageousness. And the ancestors, or maybe this person who passed maybe had qualities that were similar to the person in life, that they both were artists or they both loved to travel, and that doing the thing that that grandparent loved is a way of honoring them. And then the hermit for ancestors, like it can't get any cooler than that. That's literally the ancestor. Oh man. Oh, great. Yeah. Let me put this up. That's a great comment. Let me put that up. The loss was maybe the last of that generation, and the page is now leveling up into becoming the next gen, the elder. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love the way you're looking at this in like the big generational family way that 10 of Pentacles would definitely support for sure. And also the ancestors, right? When we think about the hermit is lifting their lamp, right? Not because they need to see it by, but to guide those that are worthy to work with the hermit. So I think that's such a beautiful, 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 beautiful invitation. So I'm going to move these aside, and we're going to do another line. Sorry, my camera, I got to go in if you guys can, so you guys can see these well enough. And so I think the next one I want to do is this one. Recognize this plus the now. And doing this will give you some kind of clear focus about what you're being recognized, or you're being recognized by, or witnessed by. Sorry. So I wrote that as in like how your grief or your pain is really being seen without being projected onto, or making it about them, like being witnessed. That work of witnessing is powerfully difficult, and really what keeps grief from becoming trauma. So recognize this. You need to know the Tower, right? This terrible thing has fucking happened. You've got to own this. So looking at that, I would be like, this person may be within the first 6 months, the first 4 months of their grief. They're still in that place where there's a denial, maybe. And that's different from dissociation, right? Denial is just like, it can't be this. Like I'm still struggling. I wake up and they're not here next to me, or they're like, I hear something and for a minute I think it's their voice, but they're not. And when you've had a breakup or you've lost someone and you're sleeping and it's so wonderful, and then you wake up and then there's that like half a second where you're awake, and then it comes back to you. You remember what has just happened. Oh God, right? Oh, those are awful, right? But that is part of this, right? Recognize this awful thing has happened. This traumatic thing has happened. You have fallen apart as a result. We need to recognize the truth of it. The now. Let's see what that is. 9 of Wands. Yes. So 9 of Wands, right? 9 of Wands is like, I am struggling. But I'm still trying to make it, man. I brushed my teeth today, right? I put on some clean pajamas, pants, This is someone in their early stages just looking at this, like the now is you are enduring. The now is that you are in the liminal, you are in this tough place. Oh wow, I just noticed this. I love this deck. So let me show you something. I don't know if you can see it on the camera very well, but she's carrying a lantern as well. I think that's what that is. It looks like a lantern anyways. So she's carrying a lantern too. Oh gosh. See, if you're going to do this work, just know I cry a lot just because it's just so tender. There is a meet point happening here between her and the ancestors. He's got his lantern, she's got hers, but she's got to get through the moment, right? They're both searching for each other's light. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Anyway, And then you have, so the now, yeah, dude, it is rough. You're going through it. No lie. Like, don't let anyone try to like minimize your pain and what you're going through. You absolutely are in this place. And so the now, what has happened? The struggle of the now. And who besides you is also recognizing it, also witnessing it? Oh, the Emperor. So for me, this may be a, an ancestor in particular. Maybe this person lost their grandfather, or like the patriarch of the family that just was what everyone kind of circumbobulated around, right? Or this could be somebody else. We don't know. But whoever this emperor would represent for this person, they're seeing the struggle, and you're being witnessed by this individual. I don't know if it's a spirit person or a person. That would have to happen in a conversation, maybe, or like an intuitive hit. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about this before I move to the third one? While you guys are doing that, I am going to once again, shamelessly promote my class, Spectral Reader, a tarot class for tarot readers to add mediumship as a reader with tarot. And also maybe some extra if that comes up. I welcome that too. We start August 1st. Also, at the end of next week, July 26th is Mystic South. I will be presenting. That's in Atlanta. You guys, I am so excited for this. It is jam-packed with cool, like all over the board offerings. I'm really excited. And I get to drive there. It's not that far from me. Yay. But it's not too late if you want to come. It's not too late. You can even get tickets at the door. Come for one day. I'll be presenting on Sunday, and I will be signing. Will you give me a reading? Book signing. Right. So my presentation, which is about tarot mediumship, that's at I want to say 9 or 9:30 on Sunday, and then at noon I will be book signing on Sunday. So let that be the day. All right. No, I'm just kidding. However you want to come, you come. No other thoughts, friends? Still chewing on it? That's okay. No worries, no pressure. And then finally, we would look at the top 3. Expansion needed here. What is present again, and the burden's shape. So, expansion needed here. Ooh. Aw. 7 of Swords. What is present? Queen of Wands. So I'm going to just talk about these 2 first before we go to the third. Expansion needed here. 7 of Swords is a card that's often a card of the thief, that which has been taken from you or done in secret. So this could be like, remember we talked about like some story that this person may be telling. This could be a story about maybe they feel this person was taken from them, or like something unfair happened that led to the grief or the loss of this person. And that we need to expand the story. It is often like we kind of get stuck in some stories that often aren't the full story, but they do something for us in our trauma. Could be self-deception too. Yeah, Martha, great. Yeah, and we need to expand upon this. We need to talk about this, and we do this by also looking at what is present, which came through in recognition over and over and over again. So it's almost like this person has built another story around what happened, and that may be conflicting with their healing grief journey. What is present? Queen of Wands. That's so interesting. What the heck? So if you guys remember, the card right below that, honoring, was Page of Wands. So this could mean many different things. This could be um like, know your strength. Know what you and who you really are, right? Or maybe even there is someone who represents the qualities of Queen of Wands that is also present, and maybe also either also suffering in a similar way, or is the key to really looking at what is the shape of the burden, what is actually going on, right? Like, let's get a better idea of the story we're telling ourselves. And then we have burden's shape, which is Six of Pentacles. Yeah. Hmm. Whew. I feel like, um, gosh, this could go so many different ways. And if I had someone in, with me, I would say, what does this come up? What's coming up for you? Because Six of Pentacles is one of those cards you can read a lot of ways traditionally. Like, you could be the one giving or being the one given to. And it's interesting that on this line, we have Seven of Swords, which is something taken, and then Six of Pentacles is something being given from one to the other. Ooh, that's a great, great, great. Oh, let me add that. That is such a great add. That can be transformed. Yeah, possibly. I think that's a great way to look at it. But we don't have transformation as its word. It's just what is present. What's here. So that may lead us to another kind of reading, right? And then we can get into a more traditional reading once we have the landscape. If we were to look at the imagery, right? She has her hands out. She's holding water in one hand and a wand in the other. That's indicative of Queen of Wands, which is water of fire. So the water, so these two hands are kind of connecting these others. So this hand is here, burden shape. And then this hand is here, which could be self-deception. So there could be some issues with Aquarian around how much they're giving or not giving, how much they should or shouldn't. This could indicate there was maybe a caretaking role, or there's some stuff around maybe the inheritance, but there's definitely like this idea of like, there's a story that you're telling yourself, but there's something going on right now that is the burden. The burden shape is what is present. And these are some of the things you've got to be looking at a little more carefully. So as an example, someone who, may live with an elder, and they were the caretaker, and those who are the caretakers often are hit the hardest, right? Because as you're caretaking, you're getting really close to that person and then you lose them. But if you have siblings and other family members that weren't caretaking, they're like, chop, chop, when are you going to leave the house so we all get our peace, right? I've seen that a bunch of times. And that is where like mutual resentments can grow. I've given and given and given, and you just want more, right? It could even be something like that. The point of this is that this exercise is to help the other person be able to see with a little more clarity what's going on without necessarily coming to any answers. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm always looking at what's happened. Like, if I'm going to look at this, that's one of the key ways I really read, is I don't read these as they're just their own little thing. Like, this is a little comic strip. This is the same image that these three things are happening in, and they are interacting with one another. So Page of Pentacles is facing Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands has the hand of water. Water is the emotion, it's the feeling, it's the softness, it's the care. And then the wand, the stick is, and then you have the sword kind of also heading that way. There's definitely something interesting going on that we can, again, we have recognized this crazy thing has happened, this hard thing has happened, the now. You are on your way. You are in the burden of the now, of that liminal space, and you're being witnessed by whoever this is. A lot of presence and like honoring, moving forward. The Hermit. Oh, sorry. So that's basically it. We're at time, my friends. But what do you guys think? What do you think of my handy, fun little way that we can support people on this side of the dimensional rift to be supported in their grief journey, and not trying to come to that easy answer, which is like, well, you should just blah blah blah, and then you'll be fine, and then or like, why are you still in the house, or whatever it is. That it is about, let us explore what is and what comes up. Oh, you're welcome. I have so many ideas. The problem is working and not having more time for ideas. Like, I have a list of things. I'm like, ooh, I want to just play around with that idea. And then I run out of time. So, but yes, my class starts next week. We are, a week and a half, maybe about a week and a half, spectral reader. If this kind of stuff is your jam and you want to get in on it, we've got a great group of people who are coming. Some of them are names that you guys, if you're in the tarot world, you may know. Actually, I'm like, it's like, you want to come to my class? Are you serious? Oh my gosh! So that's happening, and then also I'll be at Mystic South. So I probably won't be. I won't be sharing too much more until these two things happen. But I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you make something like this of your own, please reach out to me, Jenna@jennamatlin.com. I want to see what you come up with or maybe improve. But that is it for today. Thank you all so much for coming. And I'll be back when I've got something else I want to share. I'm sure of it. Take care, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you all, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.